I always forget to turn that damn thing on. Well, here we go. It is the 24th still of March, 2023. And I really wasn't I was just going to do a short video tonight, come in real quick and tell you that I didn't feel like doing it tonight. I got a lot of other stuff to do. And I've been doing it every day this week so far. Well, at least since I started. I don't know. I don't even know when I started, to be honest with you. It's been kind of a blur. Most of my life is a blur because I'm always so busy, but not that you really give a shit about that. But there's just so much out there. Like I say every night, there's so much to say that it's hard to not to do a video. It's just next to impossible, to be honest with you. But you got a couple of things I want to talk about. Have to do with free speech and some protests that are going on. An outlet that brought up Julian Assange that is supposed to be about free speech, but we all know that's not really true. But and then they just brought on a board. On their board, they brought on somebody that won a Nobel Peace Prize, and we all know lately that those Nobel Peace Prize goes to usually the people that are aligned with war criminals like Obama and other people that are usually not in line with the things that we value the most: freedom, free speech, human rights. A lot of times they say they are, but you can say one thing and your actions will show more. So just give me 1 second here. It took me a second to get the live stream set up. I kind of lost part of it for a second there, but and it was like I said, every night there's just so much stuff that we really need to pay attention to, and if we don't, I mean, next thing you know, everything's going to be taken away from us, and we're not going to have anything left. So it's really important. Hope you feel the same way about it. If not, hopefully this will help wake you up to it. 'Cause, I mean, this stuff, it really is important. So here we go. And then along with the free speech, there's evidence out there where, um, really it's the largest host of the biggest mainstream news outlet or news show out there, and that's Tucker Carlson on Fox. Now, a lot of people don't like him. Obviously, a lot of people do. He's one of the only ones that actually does say a lot of what's going on in the media right or in the world right now that a lot of the media won't even talk to you about. So there was a story that about Tucker Carlson being spied on, and I'm trying to bring up actual facts about it so that I'm not just spouting off and saying something that doesn't seem to be true. And it's not about the January 6th tapes. It had to do when he was um, trying to get uh, an interview set up for Putin. Well, one of the outlets that I listen to a lot, she came forth and said that she was actually involved in the story. And of course, now I don't, my information, I just kind of lost it. So, fuck. All right. Yeah, one of these times I'll get it together. Yeah. So her name's Anya Parampil. You can find her on the Gray Zone. At one point in time, she was on Russia Today. Um, in the course of doing some reports on Venezuela, she came across somebody that was in the government of Russia that was there when they were, when basically the United States was trying to overthrow that country. And she came in contact with a Russian government official. And this was after she was with RT. So she was totally no state funding to any kind of media that she was doing. She was totally independent, like she is now. And in the course of time, she became friends with Tucker Carlson when they had met at an event at one time. She used to actually have uh, credentialed press passes for the White House or White House correspondents. She was able to ask questions as part of RT when they were, officially recognized as a news station instead of what they tell you now that they're Russian propaganda. I mean, they're mainstream media too. They actually do bring out more stories than a lot of other people will. And I've watched them and read their articles for quite a long time. And they were only ones that would actually say a lot of the stuff that mainstream media would never tell you. Then I discovered a lot more other independent journalists and I use them a lot more. But still, even on my phone today, I have the RT app and I go there constantly to read the news. Just not as much anymore. But if I can find the article, all right. So the AI chatbot, I mean, that thing has been helpful for me so far, at least with this podcast deal. I mean, it is what it is. All right. A Fox News host claimed that the National Security Agency was spying on him and planning to leak communication in a bid to take him off the air. He made this claim on his show and said that he had learned of the matter from a whistleblower within the U.S. government. Now, that was not Anna, but when they were talking about it, they were talking about a Kremlin intermediary or something like that. I'm going to try to find that part. The NSA denied the allegation and called it untrue. That's not exactly true either. They said that they weren't directly spying on him, but the NSA gathers up so much information on foreign entities. So if they were already spying on this Russian government official, he got caught up in the tailwind. What really makes it bad, though, is the fact that they accidentally got his information, his emails, but then they were trying to use it against him. So they turned it political, which that's what makes it scary. That the fact that they would do this. So let's see what else. The NSA denied the allegations. The Office of the National Security Agency Inspector General said it would investigate Carlson's claims. Well, you already know how it is when the people investigating them are the ones doing the thing that they're investigating. It usually goes nowhere. I mean, they're not going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we found ourselves guilty on doing the thing that you told us that it was, and we didn't do it." So, all right. Off from the New York Times, the headline is Watchdog to scrutinize Fox News. Host claimed the NSA spied on him. Tucker Carlson accused the government of intercepting his emails without disclosing that he had been reaching out to the Kremlin. The Office of National Security Agency Inspector General said on Tuesday it would investigate a claim by Tucker. The agency has denied the allegation. The office is independent. The office of its independent watchdog, Rod Storch, announced that it was conducting a review. Carlson made the claim June 28th, saying he learned of the matter from a whistleblower within the U.S. government. The accusation carries echoes of conspiracy theories put forward by former President Donald Trump. The NSA captured the information without our knowledge. All right, well, the NSA rarely comments on allegations about its activities. The accusation prompted a rare public denial. Right there just gives you a little indication of how close to home it hit. The carefully worded statement, however, left open the possibility that the agents may have incidentally swept up some communications of or about Mr. Carlson as it conducted surveillance of foreigners. And this is coming from the New York Times, which is basically a mouthpiece for the intelligence agencies of the United States. In early June, it emerged Mr. Carlson had been trying to secure an interview with President Vladimir Putin, but in making his accusation, Mr. Carlson has not disclosed to his viewers that he had been reaching out to the Russian government via Kremlin intermediaries at the time. Well, there's only one intermediary, and like I told you, it was Anna from the Gray Zone, which that's another great outlet that you should check out if you haven't. Um, uh, Yeah, Mate. What's his first name? His dad's famous too, but they do a lot of good work. Aaron Mate, you got him on there, and he was just talking to Congress, I believe, about the chemical attacks that were going on in Syria, which were basically false flags um, set up. I mean, it doesn't usually make much sense to when you're doing well in fighting something, then you're going to just start dropping chemical bombs. When Russia today already said that it was possible that they were going to get blamed for doing such a thing. So, anyways, back to the story. Um, so, like I said, the Russian intermediaries, which was one, or Kremlin Russian intermediary, was Anna. She finally came out and said that it was her. She didn't want to, basically take away from Tucker's story, so she felt she was able to say something about it now. And then I believe she has an article about it in the Gray Zone, so check that out. Um, Context was important. The NSA, as a matter of routine foreign intelligence gathering, was targeting a Kremlin-linked Russian who interacted with Carlson. The agency would have incidentally gathered communications between its target and the Fox News host without having set out to intercept any of Mr. Carlson's private messages. But to go back onto it, Anna had said that both of them were having issues sending emails to each other. So it appears that some of the communications between the two weren't even allowed to go. So instead of just monitoring them, it looks like they were actively changing them. So I mean, it's once again, free speech is under attack in all forms, and it's just scary stuff. So there's just that little tidbit. I'm going to try to keep it short tonight and just kind of hit home a little bit on a few things. All right, so there's that. The next thing I want to bring up has to do with the Intercept and Julian Assange. Where did we go here? All right, so they just created a board of directors at the Intercept. It includes Annie Chabel, who is also the inaugural CEO, Nobel Prize winning journalist Maria Ressa, and Ahmed, Ahmed, Amadar Group managing director Pat Kristen. Um, so really, this is going to focus more on Annie. Annie, um, all right, and it has to do with something that she had said in an interview. Did and I'm asking it. What did Annie Chabel say about Assange? Because I want to, get things accurate here. Generally, answers. Sorry, but I cannot find any information about any making any statements about Julian Assange. Well, isn't that cute? um, well, I can go back and probably tell you. Damn it! Right here it is. All right, so that was a little excerpt there from Jimmy Dore there. Oh, I missed that. And that's the other story I want to talk about. Well, anyways, basically, she had said that. There we go. Here it is. Well, I'm not gonna be able to find exactly what I want, but you can find it on yourself. Look at the Jimmy Dore show from tonight. It'll be on there. I'll probably put a link in the description to it. Um, if you look at my last video, a lot of the stuff that I talked about that I do not justice of covering very properly, I put links in the description, so that way you can find the stuff that I'm talking about on your time. You can look it up. So she basically called him not a real journalist for the fact that he released information. He did data dumps essentially, and she didn't think that's real journalism. I mean, you can kind of take it for what you want, but you can't say that he's not a real journalist. I mean, he's done plenty of things that are under journalism, and she had mentioned that, by doing that, people got hurt and stuff like that. Well, there's nothing that I've seen where anything that Julian Assange has said related to anybody getting hurt as far as the information that he put out there. And it is one thing I need to dive deeper into is, um, and I'd like to cover is a lot of the information that he did put out there because there's a big debate about it, and a lot of it, most people don't even really know what most of the information is that he put out there. I mean, a lot of it had to do with Chelsea Manning's reveal of some disturbing videos, where people were being shot down, and I mean, that was that. When I was first kind of getting deeper into this type of stuff back in 2012, 2013, the beginning of that year, that was right around the time some of that stuff was big, and I just remember seeing them videos, and it really lit a fire in my ass to do something then to keep researching stuff. Um, Unfortunately, I let work get in my way too much, and I didn't get out there. I mean, I would still have conversations with people about it, try to have level-headed conversations, so that way you don't deter somebody. Because if you try to have an argument with somebody, you're never usually going to convince them of your side. But if you can have a conversation and bring up facts, you can open people's minds to other possibilities that they didn't consider before. And that's essentially the basis of the show is having nuanced conversations about things. And like the Gray Zone has a great title for their media outlet. The world is based on a lot of gray. Not everything is black and white, but that's not how a lot of people want to put it, that everything is it's one thing or the other. There's so many things in between. It's not that you can't have standards and morals, but you also have to have the ability to see things from another person's perspective, because we don't all view things different or the same. We see things differently, and it's very important to understand that and realize that we do have so much in common. Now, the third thing I wanted to touch on is this, and I did bring up something. I thought about it already. Let's see. Yep, here it goes. All right, so I'm wearing the neon yellow, I usually call it neon green shirt, in honor of the protests in France right now. Now, if you remember back in 2019, possibly at the end of 2018 also, but they had what they called the yellow vest protest in France. So that's why I'm wearing this tonight, and I'll probably actually be wearing it again because I mean this is just part of work attire most of the time for people in the construction field, which I did for over 14 years as a union iron worker. Shout out to Local 25 in Detroit. But you're not going to see too much on mainstream media about this, which I'm using a mainstream media source at the moment, which is CNN. I'm curious to what they got to say. Let's ask the chat bot too. What's up with protest in? I can tell you this: them guys do take to the streets quite often. They're highly unionized, but It has to do a lot with their pension funds and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure, but and it said the top of the video here it says trash is piling up on the streets of Paris. Here's why. Which these guys get down. I mean, they were bringing garbage all over the place and dumping it. And I mean, they're not putting up with a whole lot. So clashes between groups of protesters. This is from CNN. Protesters and police broke out after workers staged a national strike throughout Thursday, with flare-ups in Paris and regional capitals. French police said around 1,000 people acted violently, setting fires, launching smoke bombs, and damaging property. How many people didn't act violently, though? That's the thing. You're always going to have some bad apples in there. So, but if you're going to protest, try to do it peacefully. Don't wreck other people's stuff, and because it makes the whole protest start looking bad when you damage innocent people's property. They didn't have anything to do with it. So French police said around with other. All right, talked about that. Police fired tear gas towards crowds in Laurent, while video from Rennes shows authorities using water cannons to disperse protesters. At least 80 people were arrested, 123 police officers injured in France on Thursday during the nationwide protest. France Interior Minister Gerald Darman said. Thursday was the ninth day of strikes in the country, and so have you even heard about it in the last 9 days? I mean, I've been kind of hearing about it the last couple nights more so. I think when it first kicked off, I'd seen some information about that they were getting ready to do some strikes because of the pension fund that their president, Emmanuel Macron, just pushed through without really having any kind of public discourse on or the ability to, I'm not exactly sure how all of their parliamentary procedures go. So Thursday was the night of strikes in the country, and the first of coordinated action since French President Emmanuel Macron's government pushed a bill to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64, which must be nice because I'm pretty sure that it's older here. I mean, I don't think I could even retire from the ironworkers until I was like 62, which used to be 30 years and out, but they kind of blew that one. The most peaceful day of strike action, which saw 19,000 people march in Paris, according to the Interior Ministry, disrupted transport networks, oil refineries, and schools. It also affected air traffic, with 30% of flights impacted at Paris I don't know how to say that word, of the name of their airport. Unionized workers blockaded a major oil refinery in Normandy and another one in Fazimer in the south of the country, according to a government spokesperson. And earlier in the day, about 70 protesters blocked Terminal 1 at Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, an airport spokesman told CNN. Ahead of the strike, French authorities had mobilized 12,000 police officers throughout the country, including 5,000 in Paris. So, it just shows you that they're having some kind of impact. I mean, all right, so Bing had to say, according to the webpage you have opened, there have been protests in France, blah, blah, blah. The protests have been led by unions. What was I going to ask it? I don't know. But that's just a little context of that. There is what I want to see. French President Emmanuel Macron has faced no confidence votes over his proposed pension reform. Tell me more about the confidence. Tell me more about the no confidence vote. The French government narrowly survived a vote of no confidence, which was triggered when it forced through an increase in the pension age to 64. The vote was tabled by centrist MPs and had 270 votes in favor, falling short of the 287 votes needed. Had it been successful, President Emmanuel Macron would have had to name a new government or call new elections. A second no confidence motion tabled by Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally Party also did not pass. So, there you go. The right being on the side of the workers, something that, historically has always been a left leaning thing. And once again, I don't really, that's why I don't believe in the, left right paradigm, the two-party paradigm that we have in this country. It's just a fallacy. It's something meant to divide us. And I'm not going to be able to say that enough until people start waking up and realizing that we need to stick together in order to get what we need to get back our freedoms. And, that's one thing the government fears the most is the people sticking together. That's why they're always out to divide us. So there's that. That's pretty much all I'm going to do for tonight. I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight. Still over 25 minutes, so I'm impressed with myself for that. I don't know, like I said, I've been trying to get this going, so I'm happy that I'm putting out stuff constantly. It's a little disappointing that I can't get more outreach yet, but hopefully this weekend I can take some of my content and actually divide it up into shorter videos that are easier for people to digest. I mean, not a lot of people are gonna want to listen to some crazy looking dude, ranting on about the government. So I get that. It is what it is. But so that's a wrap up for tonight. Everybody have a good one. And until it happens, free Assange. And I didn't ask, that's what I didn't get to, but yeah, a little bit more. But yeah, I did. Anyways, have a good night.